Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Jen Sugarmeyer, your host of Mindset in the Morning, and we are here live 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. But because it's YouTube, you can watch it whenever you want. And this is Mindset in the Morning, getting your mind right for the day so that as you walk out that door, that you feel good, that you feel solid about what you are about to encounter, because the world is always full of ups and downs, and you turn on the news and it can go in one direction. You go driving into work, it goes another direction. Then your kids come home, your spouse comes home, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Life can go in a million different directions, and it's always throwing different things at you. And so when we understand how to navigate the mind, we can either see something as failure or opportunity. It can be either, depending on how you show up. So that's just one example. But I want you to be in the driver's seat of your life. And mind is one of the three pillars of health: mind, body, soul. And yet, what are we doing for our mind? We're used to, working out and meditating and all the things for the body and soul, but what about the mind? And understanding different ways of looking at life, understanding how to navigate it, will help you be better prepared when it does happen. And the truth is that mind and mental health, they do overlap. And we have an epidemic right now. We have 40% poor mental health, as reported by the Center for Disease Control. So we know that we have a problem in this world. And when we're able to take care of our mind, that actually helps us stay in better mental health status, because it keeps us from slipping into, a depression and all of these areas that we don't want to feel: frustrated, stressed out, burnt out, angry, resentful, all those things that we just don't feel good about. So that is the premise for the show. I am Jen Sugarmeyer, and I usually have on a jean jacket, and I do not this morning. I feel a little liberated. I also have extremely straight hair this morning. I just jumped out of the shower. And it's funny because I've come to like my hair, if not love my hair. And it's always funny because the grass is greener on the other side. I think when you want straight, or when you have straight, you want curly. When you have curly, you want straight, and you're always wanting something different with your hair. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So I feel like this is a little bit of a new look. It's never this straight and you never see my shoulders, but is what it is. So yesterday we were talking about when to walk away from a situation. And we dug into just some of the things, when we asked, are you growing? Are you still growing in this situation? Is it time to move on? And maybe that was your, maybe that's a relationship, or maybe that's your job or a hobby that you're into or something. So we went through a variety of steps yesterday to determine, is what you're working on still benefiting you? And maybe is it time to walk away? And walking away is one of these, it can seem kind of odd. We've invested our time into something or someone, or, whether that be a hobby that we're working on, a business that we're building, a relationship that we're in. It can, whatever we choose to invest. It could be a series that you're watching on Netflix and you're like, I'm on the second series, I've got to take this the whole way. How do you know when to pull that cord in your life? And sometimes I think we stay too long. We overstay our welcome, and I use welcome, not really in the proper sense, but we overstay how long. We invest more time in something than we really should. And there are different things in our life that we can use as indicators, such as we talked about yesterday, like growth is a big one of them. Are you still growing, or are you just kind of existing through this thing and it's not doing anything for you, and you're just spending your time, wasting your time? I had someone ask me yesterday, yeah, Jen, but what about when you're in a conversation with someone and it just doesn't seem to be going, in a positive direction, and it's really negative? And how do you deal with those situations? So I said, okay, great topic for today's show. So that's what we're going to. So it kind of parlays off of what we talked about yesterday. How do you walk away from negative conversations? And yeah, there are tons of negative people in this world, and it's negativity is like this spiral. Once you get a little bit of it, more lobs on. Imagine you have this internal magnet And whatever you're in, some of my trainings I've done, if you've ever watched my training videos, I'm like, are you a positive magnet or a negative magnet? And whichever side you are, you're going to attract these people or these other negative situations, because we know where the thoughts go, your energy flows. And so, a little negativity or something that you just decided not to deal with, and you just, oh, I'm just going to bottle it up. And maybe it was something from a long time ago. Maybe it's something that you're dealing with currently, whatever that is. If we just shove it under the rug, I'm just not going to deal with it. I'll deal with it another day. That can fester into something so much bigger, because we don't even realize what it's doing. It's like cancer spreading inside of our soul. And then once we have this negativity, then it just takes over. And all of a sudden we can be super negative. And I acknowledged in my own life that I had cancerous negativity all over me. I had no idea where it all came from. But as I started to go through my own transformation and I was peeling back layers, I started to look at my anger, my negativity, how I would handle different situations, why I would allow certain things to bother me. And what I realized is that I had so much negativity within me, and I didn't see it at the time, because when you're this close to it, it's hard to notice sometimes. And it had gotten to a point where it did catch my attention. I didn't like getting so angry every time I drove on the road and I'm screaming at, drivers that I can't even see their face. I mean, why was I doing that? I have no idea, but I did. And, it is what it is. So it allowed me, I think, when we go into a state of what I call suffering, and that's burnout, frustration, stress, fear, anxiety, resentment, when we go into any of these, that needs to first be our sign that, or that needs to be our first sign that, hey, something else is going on here. And having that level of awareness with ourselves is where I want to start, because when we, as Sun Tzu says, which is one of my favorite quotes that I say all the time, when you know yourself, you win all battles. You will win over your life. You will be able to do everything and navigate and bob and weave when you know who you are, when you know what your values are, when you know your morals, when you know how you'll react in certain situations, which is based off of your morals and your values. And when you understand when things are happening, when they start to happen in your life, that is the first thing that you need to be able to identify as, hold on, instead of me just turning on the TV, binge watching, and going from a 2 pissed off to like a 9, how about I just take this in chunks? I mean, is this something that's truly benefiting me? So the first thing we need to look out for is catching things as they're happening, not just allowing ourselves to get swept into a tidal wave. So, when a tidal wave comes over you, it just, it takes you, and then it takes you out to sea. And so, are you being swept away by a tidal wave when things are happening in your life? I remember one time I was at, it was an American Airlines flight. I was flying somewhere, and I think the flight got canceled or delayed, or there was something happening. There was a bunch of us standing in this American Airlines customer service line. And this gentleman that was standing in front of me, he turned around and he started just complaining, just rah, 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 rah. And I said, well, okay. And he was telling me how, this crappy airline canceled my flight, from Texas last week, which I live in Dallas, Texas. So, and he was talking about, oh yeah, just because of all this bad weather, which we had terrible weather, tons of people, hundreds of thousands of people lost power for like 5 days. It was awful. And he's sitting here telling me, how dare the airlines, when we've had some freak of nature, weather pattern that came over Texas. So I know he's not from Texas, but I am. And I had to deal with all of these, the whole weather and power being out and just all the things that went along with that. And so he's sitting here complaining, the airline, and I was standing there, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm not giving into this. I caught it as it was happening. I acknowledged that this guy doesn't have the energy that I want to give into. This isn't like my partner in crime. We're not cohorts. I don't even agree with what he's saying. I don't need to validate his energy, because what happens when we're validated? Yeah, you keep going. That's why when you go to a comedy club, laugh at the comedian, clap at the comedian, get up and rah, 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 because the comedian is going to feed off that energy. There is a relationship that happens when you are giving and you are getting energy, and and so that's why, comedy shows can be so much fun when the crowd's just kind of into it. You're like, I don't even know why I'm laughing. That might not be all that funny, but other people are. And I'm just like into this. So be careful. You hold the key to your energy. Be careful who you're giving it to. Because if you see this situation and you say, you know what, and you acknowledge, hey, this is a little more negative than I care to be a part of, or this is a topic that I don't agree with, you don't have to agree to agree. You can agree to disagree. In fact, I had a conversation with somebody recently and I said, look, I have to state my position because I'm Jen Sugarmeyer, and just felt like the right thing to do. Um, and I told him, I said, look, I respect your opinion. However, this is the reason for my justification. This is the reason that I feel the way that I do. So I said, let's agree to disagree, but I have to, tell you my point. So you are welcome to insert opinion here if you feel like it's something that's not going to create a bigger problem. Some people, when you talk to them and you are not for their opinion, are going to get very defensive, and you need to understand your audience. Is it going to be worth you having an argument back and forth over? When you're giving that energy to somebody, they're winning. They're winning. And even though it might seem benign, you are feeding into a negative situation, even if you have this positive spin, because once you start to go back and forth, well, this, then this, then this, then this, then you're in battle. You're in battle. Is that where you want your energy? So you need to catch these things as they're starting, assess the situation. Is this something that you want to put your energy towards? Is it something that you agree with? And then you've got to know your audience. Maybe it is right for you to insert opinion here. I felt that it was the other day as I was talking to this individual. But when I was talking to the person at the American Airlines counter, I said, "Oh yeah, they've had a lot of bad weather." Okay, yeah, no, that's tough. I know the airlines have had a tough time. Yeah, okay. And I didn't give in, and I could see him continue to try. Like, come on, be my partner in crime. Be my cohort. I need validation, and I didn't give in. And slowly I saw him just turn around and go back because he wasn't getting what he wanted from me. Don't we all want to be seen and heard and validated? So if this isn't the energy, the conversation, the person that you want to entertain, whatever that is for you, then it's time to politely exit the conversation. So yeah, maybe it is insert opinion here, or maybe you change the conversation altogether. If this is just somebody in the American Airlines, you don't need to change the conversation. Just don't talk to the person in front of you. They'll go away. But maybe it's a close friend of yours. And if it is a close friend, they should respect when you say, hey, look, I respect your opinion. I don't really want to get into this, but I respect your opinion. Thank you for bringing it up, but I'd rather talk about XYZ. And if somebody doesn't respect you for wanting to change the conversation or for not wanting to be a part of something, then I think that's a bigger conversation to be said about that person in the relationship. because relationships need to have respect, whether it's, somebody that you're dating or your best friend or a friend. And if they are making you have conversations, if they are forcing these on you, and you're saying, look, I am not comfortable with this conversation, and you say it in a nice, tactful, polite way, then that's a whole nother conversation, maybe about that person and where they fit into your life. So it's okay to say, hey, look, can we change the conversation? There have been times I know that I'm going to be around negative people, and that's just, I know that there are some of these people that have some level of negativity to them. I just know that walking into the situation doesn't mean that I'm going to cut every negative person out of my life. It just means that I know, so then I know how to better manage. And sometimes I'll give people a little bit of wiggle room to complain or to talk about or to get something off their chest a little bit. And I'll listen. Okay. And I don't have to feed in. I don't have to agree. I don't have to anything. And then time to change the topic. And you don't have to make it an announcement like, and now we are changing topics. You just insert a different topic. Hey, did you see the latest Cowboys game? Hey, oh my gosh, that was crazy. Hey, are you going to that event? Hey, and just change it. So sometimes that you're walking into a situation with somebody who, has negativity. And guess what? You can be that positive light for them. Don't give in to them. Show them by example what it looks like to be a positive being. People will see this. I've walked into rooms and you could just immediately tell the energy of the different kinds of people without knowing anyone. You can see it on their face. You can see it in their energy. It's there. Who's scowling versus, having a really, yeah, this is nice. This is light. So a lot of times all it takes is just walking into a room and you can physically see people carry energy around them. If you have toxic energy inside of you, you can feel that. People that are in tune with energies will be able to really feel those energies. And when you get to that point, it's a pretty awesome thing. It's pretty awesome. I used to not feel energies at all when I was really negative, probably because I was attracting all the wrong energy, and that's really heavy energy. And so, when you're, carrying a bunch of bricks on your shoulders, you don't feel a lot of other things. When you start to move them off, then you say, oh, wow, I'm light and I'm free. And wow, I feel things in a different way. Life takes on a whole different look and feel. So it doesn't mean that when you're in a conversation that you've got to make that announcement, hey, we're changing the conversation. Just change the conversation. And it may be that whatever conversation that you're in, that you just need to walk away. And we talked about some of this yesterday with, are you growing in the situation? Is it adding value to your life? Is it weighing you down? Only you can assess these things for yourself. And this is why you've got to know, you've got to be in tune. How's this conversation making you feel? How does it, is it riling you up? Do you want to add to it? Is all of a sudden you talk about politics and, somebody talks about the president and you go through the roof? Maybe those aren't the best conversations for you to be in, because you know that you need to do some work around maybe control and you've got some mindset work to do around the president. And so maybe it's best just not to feed into them, because they're just going to make you so angry. But if you don't have this level of awareness with yourself, then you're not able to pivot and respond in that way. So how do you deal with these negative people? You've got to be able to catch the situations as they're happening. Wait, hold on, this is negative. Do I want to be in this conversation or not? And is this the kind of person that you can say, hey, do you want to feed into it or do you not? Do you want to change the conversation? Do you want to walk away from the situation? And it will depend on person to person. But the very first step is to be able to catch it as it's happening. So today, as you are going out into the world, start to pay attention to these conversations that are happening around you and the people that are in your space, whether it be a casual conversation by the water cooler when you're at work, or with your best friend or your spouse or whomever that may be that comes across your space, and start to pay attention of, is this adding value to my life? And we always talk about, and we didn't say it on the show, I think today or yesterday, but asking yourself, does this serve me? Those are the 4 words. That is the question for you always to be asking. Does this serve me? Does it serve me to be here in this conversation? Is it adding benefit and value to my life? So ask yourself these, show up powerfully, be the person that you know that you are destined to be, but you got to catch these things as they're happening. So go out into the world and start noticing what is happening around you. So if you've not yet hit that like button or that subscribe button, please do so, because that helps us grow this channel so that we can reach more people. Because if we can change just one thought at a time, this world will be a massively better place. And let's start, well, with you. Let's have your life be incredible. Isn't that the goal? You only live once. So I will see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, or whenever you choose to turn on the show.